What is going on, everybody? Hello and happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you are new to the channel, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell, so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love. So this is going to be the weekly astro forecast for the week of March 13th through 19th, 2023. So I hope the week is starting out well for you. I hope that you had a great weekend. We've got a lot to cover today because this week there is a lot going on in the sky, and don't be surprised if you feel a little off this week because the energy is most definitely a little wonky. All right. So just forewarning you. All right. Well, hello, Chanel and Patricia. How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in here with me on the live. All right. So before we get into anything, first, let's let the people over on Twitter know that we are live so they can come over here and join us. All right. Who just joined? That was Ramel. What's going on, Ramel? So before we get into the nitty gritty, let's get into some announcements and housekeeping. So announcements. I am still making my way through the March monthly videos for each sign. All right. It's a daunting task. I'm not even going to lie because I still do these regular lives. I do weekly scripted videos. Plus I still have a whole business to run. So I'm doing my best to get those out in a timely manner. But as the month progresses and I get these videos out, I'll be giving you guys a little bit extra, especially for the signs that are sort of coming towards the end of the series. All right. So sit tight for those. As always, subscribe and hit that notification bell. All right. If you're interested in your weekly horoscope, you're going to want to text ZODIAC to 855-826-5544. You'll be part of my text subscription service and you will get your horoscope texted to you every morning. It's short, sweet, and to the point. All right. So far, the people that have signed up, they really love it. And plus, you get 10% off everything on my site. All right. So definitely pays to subscribe. All right. And so if you want that information again, that information will be in the description box below. All right. As far as housekeeping, if you are here in the live with me, thank you so much for joining. I always appreciate it. Definitely say hi on your way in, and don't forget to hit that like button on your way in as well, please and thank you. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for watching. I sincerely appreciate you. You're going to want to hit that like button as well because these lives are chock full of information that you can definitely use going into the week. All right. And just as a reminder, I do these lives, these weekly forecasts every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the last Wednesday of the month, I do the monthly forecast, which is typically around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, again on the last Wednesday of the month. All right. So subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of those. All right. We also got Nay and Philip Boone. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. Like it means so much to me. Like you don't even know because actually April will mark 1 year since I started doing these weekly astro forecasts. When I tell you the first couple of months, I was talking to myself. There was absolutely nobody in the live, nobody in the chat. And I was like, you know what? At least people can watch it on the replay, and to see all of you guys not only here on the live, but interacting, and you guys are regular subscribers and you engage regularly, like it means more to me than you will ever know. So thank you so much for being here. All right. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, yes. And if you are new to astrology, or if you started studying astrology and you're completely confused, I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which basically gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology, namely the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. All right. It is hello, Doug Taylor. How are you? It is an 11-page PDF document that basically gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology, because despite what anyone may say or even may not say, astrology is definitely a science, and like any science, it definitely requires a good deal of study. All right. So if you want to get this cheat sheet, the link is definitely going to be in the description box below. All you have to do is drop your email and you're good to go. However, I've gotten even more information because I just completed a series on not only the 4 pillars of astrology, but how to read your natal chart. All right. I did a 5-part series here on YouTube that helps you read your natal chart and really gives you all the information you need to read your natal chart from soup to nuts. Like, it's really, I'm not even saying that because I made it, but it is amazing in terms of the information it gives you. And I really think that once you finish the series, you're going to have a pretty good idea, like at least the basic foundation on how to read your natal chart. So definitely, I'll leave the link to that series in the description box below as well. All right. So now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's chat and talk about this week, honey, because this week it's a lot. There's a lot going on. And it's so interesting because it made me think of, the natural new year is right around the corner. Actually, a week from today is Aries season begins, right? And so it made me think of like that last week of the fiscal new year, right? From like right after Christmas until January 1st. And you ever feel like that week in between Christmas and New Year's, it just feels weird, right? Like you kind of don't know what day it is. Like nothing feels real, right? I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, right? It's just this very sort of weird energy because you're kind of in between 2 stages, right? You're still in the current year, but the new year is like right there as well. So it's this sort of transitory, transitional kind of energy. And that's the best way that I can describe this week. To say that there's a lot going on is an understatement. We've got so many planets making aspects to each other this week. However, there is this heavy, heavy, heavy concentration of Pisces energy, not just because the sun is in Pisces, but we also have Mercury. We've got Neptune. We've got Saturn that just made its way into Pisces last week. And what else? Mercury, Sun, Neptune, and Saturn. So we've got 4 planets in Pisces. And the fact that Saturn is in Pisces, it sort of attributes to that heaviness of it, right? So you're going to want to take a look at your natal chart and see where Pisces is, because this is where a lot of this energy is sort of playing out, all right? So let's say Pisces is your 10th house. A lot of this is going to play out in terms of your career and your public life. Or if Pisces is your 7th house, this is going to have a lot to do with your relations and your contractual obligations, okay? But by and large, I feel like the energy of this week, it's like... the best way I can put it is like, it's like a battle royale between your logical mind and your subconscious mind. It's like consciousness versus subconsciousness, and not consciousness like necessarily like, being on a spiritual journey. This is like your logical mind versus your subconscious mind. Okay. And it's almost like both of them are going to be vying for attention. And so many of us may feel torn. Many of us may feel like our minds are playing tricks on us. You may also feel like some of your fears, whether rational or not. I mean, whether a fear is rational or not is very subjective, but I feel like a lot of that kind of energy is going to be very rampant this week, especially like second guessing yourself, second guessing decisions. I would say with the astrology this week, it's not the best kind of astrology to be making important decisions or life-changing decisions. I think you kind of just want to let the astrology of this week pass and then start fresh come Aries season, because it's like I said, it's like that week between Christmas and New Year's, that very weird transitional sort of energy. Okay. And so this is when we are tying up loose ends. This is when we are, we just started a new Saturn cycle with Saturn going into Pisces. This is when we're kind of really doing the work to create our reality. Okay. And it's almost like our logical mind is going to be like checking us. Like, are you sure that you want to do this? This doesn't quite make sense. Like, how is this going to happen? I feel like, especially if you've really been doing manifestation work, especially if you've really been conscious about creating and manifesting, I feel like your logical mind is going to be asking you, like, do you really think that we can do this? We want to do this, but does it make logical sense? I feel like that's kind of the energy that's going to be rampant this week. So it's going to be really important to stick to the script. Okay. Persistence is key. That's the one thing I've learned, not just in studying astrology, but definitely in my spiritual journey and in manifesting. It's like, it doesn't matter what the 3D throws at you, nor does it matter what the cosmos throw at you sometimes. Like, persistence is key. And Saturn and Pisces is going to reward you for that persistence. Maybe not now, but definitely in the future. So it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Doesn't matter even sometimes what your logical mind is saying. If you know what you want and you are persistent and diligent in working toward it, meaning subconsciously, it will have no choice but to come to pass. All right. So we're all going to have to be a little persistent this week. All right. So let's get into the highlights and see what we've got going on for this week. So first we have what I like to call bad and bougie, because Venus is going to be making her way into one of her home signs, which is Taurus. All right. And this is all about feeling good, looking good, feeling comfortable. It's comfort, it's luxury, it's materialism, it's fashion, it's aesthetics, it's art, it's creativity, but in a very tangible and practical sort of way. All right. So once Venus makes her way into Taurus, you know, things like money are going to come into the fold, all right? Especially depending on where Taurus is in your chart, right? But tangible things, physical items, those are especially physical items having to do with beauty or having to do with comfort or having to do with money. You know, a lot of those things are going to be at the forefront for the next couple of weeks while Venus is in Taurus, all right? And Venus in Taurus is always a good kind of transit, especially if you have like Taurus in your second house, if Taurus is your second house, if Taurus is your first house, seventh house, definitely always an interesting transit. So it's definitely going to be a good time. Then we have what I like to call warped reality, and we've got Neptune transits. So Neptune is making aspects to several planets this week, again, because we've got this excess of Pisces energy, and we've got this Pisces stellium with 4 planets in Pisces. All right. So this is emotions may get really heavy. This is being delusional, for better or for worse, not seeing things for what they are, perhaps a bit of escapism. Remember I said that week between Christmas and New Year's kind of doesn't feel real. That's exactly what this week feels like, due in part to the Neptune aspects this week. All right. So definitely keep that in mind. And then we've got what I like to call nuck if you buck. All right. And so Mercury is going to be making its way into Aries. And that is always an interesting transit in and of itself. All right. This is being headstrong, opinionated. This is mental sparring, right? Like, this is a lot of fierce mental activity, fierce words, bold and dynamic communication, a lot of new thoughts. All right. So what's interesting is that Mars is still currently in Gemini, which is not for long. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is going to be moving into Aries. Okay. And Aries is ruled by Mars. So Mercury in Aries and Mars in Gemini sort of kind of exactly feel the same. All right. In astrology, we call that mutual reception. Okay. It's when the ruler of that planetary ruler is in, I don't know. I'm trying to explain it, but it's like, so you have Mars is ruled by Aries. Mercury is going into Aries. Mars is in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So you get what I'm trying to say. It's called mutual reception. I'm sure on a better day when my head is less cloudy, I'll be able to express that a little better. But yeah, so Mercury in Aries, Mars in Gemini. For the little time that Mars is still going to be in Gemini, it's going to feel the same. So there's going to be a lot of this mental sparring, rough communication style. That's why I said this week is sort of a battle royale between your subconscious and your conscious mind. Okay. Because we've got all this ethereal head in the clouds, Pisces energy versus Mercury in Aries, Gemini, Mars in Gemini, this very logical, conscious, left brain kind of energy. All right. So again, if you feel kind of off, that's going to be why. All right. So let's get into the week and see exactly what we've got going on. And I told you I wasn't lying. Look at the screen. There's like so much. All right. So today we've got the moon in Sag. And tomorrow we've got Mars square Neptune. Then on Wednesday, we've got the sun conjunct Neptune and the moon moving into Capricorn. Thereafter, on Thursday, we've got Venus moving into Taurus, the sun square Mars, Mercury conjunct Neptune, and Venus square Pluto. Thereafter, on Friday, we've got the sun conjunct Mercury, Mercury square Mars, Venus sextile Saturn, and the moon in Aquarius. Saturday, we've got Mercury sextile Pluto. And then we close out the week on Sunday with Mercury moving into Aries and the moon moving into Pisces. All right. So lots to talk about. So we'll start at the beginning. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that going forward, I guess you guys really liked the little tarot section I did at the end of last week's live. So every week now, I'm just going to pull one card for each sign, basically for the weekly energy. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoy that and you'll get a nice little intuitive message at the end of this live. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the week. All right, so today we've got the moon in Sag. So today is one of the quieter days of the week, right? And moon in Sag is always a great moon placement, all right, because it has this very upbeat energy. So for the last couple of days, the moon has been in Scorpio. We all know how moon in Scorpio feels. Very intense, quite emotional, a lot of perhaps inner turmoil. It's a very emotional time, right? When the moon is in Scorpio. However, when the moon moves into Sagittarius, it's upbeat, it's energetic, it's optimistic. We see the bigger picture, and seeing the bigger picture allows us to not be bogged down by the details, obviously, but also contributes to that sense of optimism. You kind of understand why you're doing things, and you look very much toward the future. It's no coincidence that the glyph for Sagittarius is the arrow and that the symbolism for Sagittarius is the centaur with the arrow, right? It's this element of otherworldliness, of godliness, right? With the centaur, that's sort of like a demigod. And then you've got the arrow, which is pointing to the sky. So it's all about broadening your horizons. It's all about experiencing new adventures. And again, being optimistic about the future. Now we're making our way to the new moon in Pisces, okay? And so we're at the waning gibbous phase. And this is when things start to, I like to say things start to break down, but it's more so about you releasing things that you no longer need, okay? It's when you surrender and rest. It's when you let go of bad habits and things that may be standing in your way when it comes to manifesting and having the life that you want. And what I love about the moon in Sagittarius is that in releasing, we're releasing to receive. During the waning phase, we can very much focus on all of the stuff that we have to do to get rid of things. But I feel like the optimism of Sagittarius allows us to remember that when we release, we create room to receive. And that can also contribute to the optimism and the faith that we have in a bright future. Okay, so one of the things that is sort of characteristic of moon in Sagittarius energy is kind of being spontaneous, doing something you wouldn't normally do, going on an adventure, experiencing something new. It's great for travel. It's great for higher education. But most importantly, I feel like it's just great for thinking of the future in a very optimistic sort of way. All right. So that's what we have to look forward to. And that is what's going down on Monday. Let's keep it moving. All right, so tomorrow on Tuesday, we've got Mars square Neptune. So you'll see Mars at 25 degrees Gemini, and it will be square to Neptune at 25 degrees Pisces, okay? This particular transit does not feel good. It sort of brings out the negative side of Neptunian energy. So normally, sort of the positive side of Neptune energy is that it's optimistic, it's faithful, it allows you to tap into your imagination and your creativity. It allows you to escape reality. You can escape to a dream world. It allows you to really open your mind to not just what's possible, but to anything, right? And it's a very beautiful, lighthearted, ethereal sort of energy. However, the negative side of that is delusion, it's deceit, it's deception, it's lies, right? Because that's sort of the underbelly of that ethereal kind of energy. And Mars square Neptune really brings that out, okay? So be mindful and beware of suspicion, paranoia, deceit, lies, all of those sort of low vibrational energies. Additionally, things like scandal, slander, All of those are possible with this particular transit. All right. And so Mars energy is very energetic, physically speaking. Especially when you pair up Mars with like the sun, this is being super healthy, super energetic. It's like your battery being on full, right? Fully charged. However, Mars square Neptune, it contributes to draining your batteries. So I wouldn't be surprised if you feel physically tired, less energy, low energy, lethargy. All of those things are very possible under this transit as well. So it's one of those things, again, it's one of those transits I don't particularly like because it has a way of playing with your mind, because remember, Mars is in Gemini. And like I explained before, Gemini, that's that logical mind. And then when you pair that with Neptune and Pisces, that ethereal, subconscious imagination, those are the two things that are at odds. And again, I said it's like a battle royale between the two. It's going to leave you perhaps mentally exhausted or even physically exhausted. So I think that especially over this week, if you can, get as much rest as possible, okay? Because especially with that plethora of Pisces energy, you're going to want to sleep anyway, because a lot is going to be going down in your dream state. A lot is going to be going down like astral projection and psychic abilities. All of that stuff is going to be going down in the time when you're not physically awake, okay? So get as much rest as you can. Stay hydrated. I mean, that goes for any time of the year, right? But particularly this week, I would definitely recommend that, okay? Now, the thing that I feel sort of exacerbates this transit, it already brings out sort of the not so good side of Neptune energy, right? But the fact that Saturn is also in Pisces, it's not necessarily conjunct to Neptune. But the fact that it's in Pisces means that its energy is sort of being felt. It's in the general vicinity. And there can be this, there can be the tendency to really listen to your fears. Saturn can represent our fears. It could represent our insecurities, right? And with Mars square Neptune, a lot of that can be exacerbated, I feel. This can lead to negative feelings, negative self-talk, feeling discouraged, feeling down, feeling doubtful, being suspicious, paranoid, jealous. I mean, a lot of the low vibrational energies definitely will thrive during this transit. And it's really important that you don't play into it. One of the things I talk about with clients is that, you kind of have to be the observer. When these things come up, don't enmesh yourself in it. Think of it as like a movie and you're just watching it. You don't have to engage. You don't have to claim it. You don't have to really go swimming in the cesspool of all of these energies. You really can just observe it. Try to detach and observe. And I feel like that's going to definitely be a skill that you're going to want to use and practice this week, okay? Be wary of other people, because other people may really be on some fuck shit, okay? Anytime we have Neptune or even Pisces energy, there is this propensity for scamming, wolves in sheep's clothing, people pulling the wool over your eyes kind of a thing. It's best not to obviously give into that. So you definitely want to be not proactive. What do I want to say? I don't know. You definitely want to be cautious about that. But you also don't want to play the victim either. All of this Pisces energy, especially going on this week, it could really have people in their like victimhood. People can really be playing the victim, the woe is me kind of role, and make sure that you're not one of them, okay? Because that could really spiral into something a lot darker and a lot deeper, especially with some of the transits that we have going on this week. So yeah, not a good way to start the week. However, it is what it is. You can't have rainbows and unicorns every day, right? Now, there's also this element of health. And I say this as a disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor. This is not considered medical advice. This is just the astrology. If you find that you have any issues with this, please see a licensed medical professional, okay? Hypochondria is going to be a real thing. People thinking that they have something that they don't. People being extremely paranoid about medical issues. Yeah. That's just, it is what it is. Like, I feel like a lot of people may be on that tip this week. But that reminds me that if you are feeling particularly depressed, if you are feeling particularly down, because this can be one of those transits that triggers depressive thoughts and the like, please seek professional help. Okay, please talk to someone. The thing with Pisces energy, it can be an undercurrent that really takes you away. You know, at the beach, they have that rip tide, that rip current that you can't see, but can really just carry you away. This plethora of Pisces energy can really, people need to be checked on, okay? Check in with the people that you love. Make sure that they're doing well this week, because some of us may handle this better than others, and others of us may really just fall into sort of a dark place. So please check on the ones that you love. All right. So that's Mars square Neptune in a nutshell. All right. So let's keep it moving and see what other fuckery we've got going on this week. All right, so fresh off the heels of that Mars square Neptune, we've got the Sun conjunct Neptune. All right, so the Sun is going to be energizing that Neptunian energy. All right. Then we also have the Moon moving into Capricorn, which is kind of the saving grace for Tuesday into Wednesday. All right, so Sun conjunct Neptune, it can exacerbate a lot of what I was talking about before. Okay, like it just energizes that stuff. Or in a good way, it can bring that stuff to light. Okay, so maybe a lot of what you're going through, you couldn't quite put your finger on it, right? Like a lot of this stuff was stewing under the surface. Sun conjunct Neptune may shine a light on how you've been feeling. It can really shine a light on your subconscious, which is great because it can get you to understand what's going on so that you can, course correct. It's also great because it can really help you tap into your spiritual side. It helps with tapping into empathy. It increases your sensitivity. But in increasing your sensitivity, the way that can kind of play out is that you can really feel the energy of the environment around you. You can pick up on other people's energy, which is a great thing if you're talking about empathy, but it can be extremely overwhelming, especially if you are dealing with heaviness right now. And to be able to feel everyone else's heaviness or everyone else's emotions can be a lot. That is why Pisces is also, associated with escapism, wanting to escape reality because they just feel too much. So you may find that you have like sensory overload, you're overly sensitive, or you feel overly emotional. It's definitely Sun conjunct Neptune in Pisces, okay? And there's nothing wrong with escaping, but you definitely want to do it in a healthy way. The thing with Pisces is that it's very prone to addictive behaviors. And especially if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's kind of your default, right? So if you abuse alcohol, maybe if you're feeling a lot or you're going through a depressive moment, it may be a time where you fall back on, picking up the bottle or getting a few drinks, right? Any addiction to like sex, to food, even to drugs. You want to be mindful of any addictive behaviors you have, because if you're sensing a lot, if there's a lot going on in your feeling, if you're really in your feelings, that addictive behavior may be what you fall back on. All right. So just be mindful of that. However, it's wonderful energy for creativity. And I think that is the healthiest form of escape under this particular transit, is that it can have you tapping into a side of you that either may be dormant or that you have to push to the side because, we live in a 3D reality, but it's great for creativity. So if you find that things are a little too heavy for you, if you find that you're overwhelmed or overly emotional, draw, play music, watch movies, create something wonderful, create something that you're inspired to create, even sleep, dream, imagine. All of those things definitely thrive under this transit of Sun conjunct Neptune in Pisces. All right. Then we've got the last quarter moon in Capricorn. And I said before that this is kind of the saving grace of this transit, because that moon in Capricorn is going to ground us. It's going to sort of bring us back down to earth after being in the ethers, after being in our subconscious and our imagination. That moon in Capricorn is going to bring us back to our bodies and back to the 3D reality. Okay. This is sort of going to have you focus on the mundane. It's also going to have you focus on work. So again, even if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling overly emotional, if you're not really in the creative mood or you're not necessarily creatively inspired at the moment, the way to kind of escape all of the intensity is by working, by really focusing on your 3D reality. Like, that's a good way to ground yourself. It's a good way to get back into your body if you kind of feel like you're all over the place. And it's a good way to just pass the time. Okay. However, it can also really exacerbate a lot of negative thoughts and depressive thoughts, because the moon in Capricorn sort of gives us a sobering look at our circumstances. So again, if you feel like these transits are too much for you, please reach out to someone and talk to them. Okay. Whether a professional or not, let it be someone that you trust. But we're kind of teetering into, in my opinion, transits that can be a little dangerous, especially if you are not mentally stable or you don't have great mental health at the moment. Okay. So again, have compassion for yourself, for others, have grace for yourself and others, and practice empathy, because these transits can be extremely rough. Okay. Now, because it's the last quarter phase of the moon, this is when you sort of assess how far you've come, take responsibility for what you've done and what you haven't done, and let go of what's no longer necessary. All right. And again, because the moon in Capricorn is such a sobering kind of energy, this may be tough, right? Especially because you've missed the mark with certain things. You didn't accomplish some of the things that you had hoped to accomplish. I feel like it's going to be one of those days where you may tend to be kind of hard on yourself. You may tend to really, just really be hard on yourself. And please try not to, right? We're only human. We can only do as best as we possibly can at any given moment. All right. But if you use it for what it's meant, what it's meant for, but if you use this energy constructively, you can get a lot of work done, and you can sort of kind of escape the heaviness of what's been going on in the cosmos up until this part of the week. All right. So that's pretty much Wednesday. Let's keep it moving. All right, so on Thursday, we've got Venus moving into her home sign of Taurus. Then we have the Sun square Mars. You'll see it's just, look at the chart. You can tell there's a lot going on. Then we've got Mercury conjunct Neptune, and then we have Venus square Pluto. All right, so let's tackle all of these one by one. First, we've got we've got Venus entering Taurus, and this is a very nice transit. Like I said before, Taurus is one of Venus's home signs, so the energy of Venus is going to be super potent. So along with Pisces in your natal chart, where all of this other energy is going on, you're also going to want to take a look at where Taurus is, because wherever Taurus is in your chart is where you're going to experience a boost of positivity, whether it has to do with money, whether it has to do with beauty, whether it has to do with relationships, right? That positive energy is going to come your way to wherever Taurus is in your chart. So keep that in mind, okay? Venus in Taurus is materialistic. Venus in Taurus is... it can be possessiveness. It can be focusing on money. It can be focusing on the material and practical elements of relationships, for better or for worse, right? It's tangible and physical expressions of love. It's a bit of hedonism, because our appetite for pleasure definitely increases when Venus is in Taurus. Venus in Taurus wants comfort. She wants luxury. She wants to feel good. She wants to have all the things. She wants to possess things that make her look and feel beautiful and valued. Okay. And so this is kind of the energy that's going to be coming your way, again, to wherever Taurus is in your chart. All right. I think it's pretty good. But you can also take it to the extreme, right? Excessive materialism, excessive possessiveness. I don't know if you can hear my dog, but she's wilding out right now. So if you hear any random noises, that's her. Objectifying things, especially people. So in relationships, not really seeing your partner as a partner, but more so as a thing to have or a thing to possess. That's sort of the downside and the negativity of Venus in Taurus. All right. But otherwise, it's a very pleasant transit, which is definitely welcome after the week that we're sort of having. All right. Then the next one is going to be Sun square Mars. Okay. And this is when I was preparing for this live, the first thing that came to mind when I heard this transit was pissing contest. Okay. It's one of those transits that's very competitive. It brings out the competitive spirit in people, especially men, because we're talking about the sun and Mars, which are both masculine energy planets. Okay. This is challenges, competition. This is very much being in your ego. It's reckless and impulsive behavior that can perhaps bring danger. All right. So try not to be too impulsive. Try not to be in your ego too much because it could lead to physical harm either to you or to others. Okay. It's being on the defense, right? It's being challenged, particularly by men. So you may find that this plays out in your career sector. Bosses, authority figures, even male coworkers may really be challenging you or maybe testing you, or again, this pissing contest kind of energy. It's super annoying, okay? This is the time to really be on the defensive, and it's the time to stand up for yourself, as hard or as challenging as that may be. Now, if you find that you're not necessarily challenging other people, these challenges could be going on within yourself, which may be even worse, to be honest. All right. But whatever it is, there's going to be a surplus of physical energy with this particular transit. All right. And so anytime we have Mars in the mix, it's all about how we spend our physical energy. All right. And if you find that you are feeling uptight, if you are feeling a lot of anger, resentment, because these emotions are also associated with Mars, the best form of, or the best remedy, I should say, is physical activity. So you're going to want to exercise, go out for a run, maybe lift some weights. Any physical activity is going to be great. For some people, it's sex. For other people, it's masturbation, right? Any of those, any way to release that energy in a safe way is going to be good, because the unsafe way to release this energy is to punch somebody in the face or to stomp somebody out, because you may feel like doing that. I'm not even going to lie to you. Please don't do that. We don't want you doing that. We don't want you getting arrested or anything like that. All right. Also, we don't want to hurt ourselves or anybody else. So find healthy ways to release that pent up energy. And if people are egging you on, if people are really trying to provoke you, don't take the bait. Try as hard as you can not to take the bait, because nothing positive can come out of it. All right. It's one of those transits where you really just have to mind your business. Drink your water and mind your business. All right. And I feel like that's the best way to get over this particular transit. All right. Then next we've got Mercury conjunct Neptune. Okay. And this is contributing to the delusion that Neptune in Pisces already provides. The negative portion of this particular transit is being delusional, not seeing things for what they are, thinking of things in a way that is not reflective of reality, for better or for worse. The positive aspects of this transit are, again, being able to tap into your imagination, into your subconscious, into your psychic abilities. This is one of those situations where telepathy becomes really heightened. Psychic impressions, astral projection, all of those cool things that everyone wants to do and have are definitely possible under this particular transit. Okay. It's also great for creativity. So again, if you're feeling, because already I'm listening to myself give this weekly forecast, and I'm saying like, this is like all over the map in terms of how the energy is expressing itself and playing itself out, right? So suffice it to say, you may be feeling a variety of things this week, or maybe just one or two, right? But one of the things that I want to impress on you, number one, is that if you're feeling really down and depressed, please seek some help. Number two, escape via creativity if you can. All right. And Mercury conjunct Neptune really facilitates that. It really gets you out of your left brain and really into your right brain creativity. So use that to your advantage this week, okay? But also keep in mind, remember I said that Pisces energy lends itself to scammers, wolves in sheep's clothing, right? With Mercury conjunct Pisces, it's going to be very hard to believe what certain people are saying. Okay. Certain people's words may be twisted with misconception, miscommunication, lies, and deceit. So, again, that's why I said earlier in the broadcast, it is not the best week to make any important decisions because things aren't necessarily what they seem to be, whether in reality or in your own mind. All right. So, don't necessarily trust what people are telling you because it may not be the truth. All right. Then finally for Thursday, we've got Venus square Pluto. Okay. And this has a lot to do with our love lives. Not even just our love lives, but our financial lives as well. It really provides some intensity to that. All right. So Venus just made her way into Taurus and Pluto is still at that Capricorn, that 29th degree of Capricorn. Okay. So this is really about the practicality of love and romance. It's about the practicality of financial situations, but it's going to intensify that. Anytime you're talking about Pluto, you're talking about transformation. So there could be some sort of external conflict, some sort of external frustration with respect to romance, relationships, or money that is really the catalyst for change. Okay. And the best way to describe this, and this is just an example, is breaking up with someone, right? In the immediate time frame, it sucks, right? And feels horrible. You feel miserable, or perhaps, or maybe you don't. But it definitely can be the catalyst to transformation. Okay. Same thing with money. Maybe you lose a job, or maybe there's like, let's say you run a business, right? And you have to buy supplies or inventory, or you have to renew a platform subscription, and you find that the bank has frozen your account, or maybe like PayPal has a hold on your money or something. Like, it's one of those frustrations that lead to change. You're like, maybe I shouldn't be keeping my money in the bank, especially with everything that's going on. I think there's a lot more truth to that statement right now. Or maybe I shouldn't use PayPal, or maybe I should use a different payment processor, right? That's kind of how this particular transit is going to work. All right. So keep that in mind. And again, what I hate about Pluto squares is that they bring out sort of not so good things, right? Low vibrational things. This is threats and ultimatums. This is manipulation, infatuation, obsession, or even violence. Okay. So things have the propensity to get extremely ugly this week. That's what I say. Just drink your water and mind your business. Ride out this particular week. Try not to get in the mix with people who are, doing the most, or anyone who provokes you. Just walk away. Don't necessarily listen to what people are telling you because, like I said, the energy of this week it's a lot. All right. All right. So let's move on to Friday. All right. Of course, I have no idea where I'm at. Okay. Okay. So on Friday, we've got the Sun conjunct Mercury. We've got Mercury square Mars. We've got Venus sextile Saturn. And we've got the moon moving into Aquarius. All right. Sun conjunct Mercury is actually pretty good, all right? And it really just builds on what I said before with Mercury conjunct Neptune and Sun conjunct Neptune, right? They're all in a clusterfuck, all in Pisces. So again, there's going to be a focus on thinking. There's going to be, mental alertness, but not necessarily of the logical sense. This is more of the subconscious, ethereal, psychic. All of those kind of things are going to be heightened with the Sun conjunct Mercury. Okay. It's a good time for creative ideas. This is a great time to reprogram your subconscious, to tell yourself a new story. Like, this is the theme for this Pisces season, and definitely this week. All right. And again, if you feel like it's too much, tap into your creativity. I guarantee that it'll make you feel better. All right. Then we've got Mercury square Mars, okay? And again, I feel like a lot of these transits sort of repeat itself just in different ways. This is, jumping to conclusions, rushing to make decisions based on your impulses. This is fighting words. This is, popping off. This is just more of the same fuckery that we've got going on this week, okay? It's not a great time for making decisions. It's not a great time for study. It's not a great time to get involved in heavy debates or negotiations because they could lead to conflict, okay? Things can get heated. Things can escalate very quickly. So again, if anyone provokes you, I think the best course of action is to just walk away. Channel any pent-up energy constructively. So again, physical activity is going to be a great way to channel that aggressive energy, or you may just want to tap into your creativity, like I've said like 10 times already. But yeah, you get the point, right? You definitely don't want to again make any major decisions. And for some, it's like I said before, it may be like your mind testing you, or your mind even taunting you, your logical mind. Like you may be working on some subconscious shit. You may really be in your manifestation bag, and you may be really creating your outer world through your inner world. But then your logical mind is like, what are you doing? You think this can really happen? Some of us may have our fears come up, our insecurities come up, negative self-talk come up. And I feel like Mercury square Mars is going to exacerbate that. All right. So do your best to move past it. And again, if it's too much, please seek help from a professional, okay? Or at least someone that you trust. But this is going to be about persisting. This is very much, it sort of goes hand in hand with Saturn and Pisces. Saturn and Pisces is about doing the work. Regardless of what your mind is saying, regardless of what anyone else may be saying to you, persist in what you are trying to create, okay? I can't even stress that enough. Then we've got Venus sextile Saturn, okay? And this is basically putting a focus on the practicality of relationships, okay? So this may ignite your desire for companionship, but on a very logical and practical sort of level. It may have you, because Saturn is currently in Pisces, it definitely may have you tied to a particular ideal when it comes to a relationship, like how you want your relationship to go and being committed to creating that. I feel like Venus in Taurus is going to have you also understand the practical things that are needed to make that happen. So even if it's not relationships, it could be financial goals, right? Or just finding some sort of balance in your life. I feel like if you have an ideal and you're willing to put in the work, and you're willing to incorporate the right resources to, bring that manifestation to fruition, I feel like things are going to work out for you. And this is one of the better transits of this week, clearly. All right. Then finally, we've got the waning crescent moon in Aries. This is an attraction to everything that is new. We're still in the waning phase. So it means that we're letting go of things that we don't need, because Aquarius is a sign that is future focused. I feel like this is about getting rid of things that we no longer need so that we can make room for things that can lead us into the future. Okay. We tend to be a little more intellectual rather than emotional when the moon is in Aquarius. All right. It's also great for things like social gatherings, meeting up with people, any sort of group activities. But by and large, Aquarius energy is huge for personal freedom. It's wanting to break away from any sort of mold that you've been put into, any sort of box that you've been placed into. It's really about finding personal freedom and veering off the beaten, or following the beaten path, or whatever the saying is. But sort of finding your own way, marching to the beat of your own drum, is definitely characteristic of moon in Aquarius energy. Okay. Great time for reflection, especially when it comes to the future and what you want your future to look like. Reflecting on past experiences and sort of looking at it from an intellectual sort of lens rather than an emotional lens. All right. So that's Friday. Let's move into Saturday. All right, so on Saturday, we've got Mercury sextile Pluto. All right, so on Saturday, Mercury will be at the tail end of Pisces, and it will be sextile to Pluto, which is at the tail end of Capricorn. Okay, so essentially with this transit, anytime you have Pluto intensifies things. And because we're talking about Mercury has to do with thoughts and communications. Our thoughts and communications are going to get extremely intense, okay? We've got Pluto and Capricorn still, which is giving us a little bit of grounding, right? But Mercury is still going to be in Pisces, so we're still going to have our head in the clouds, still very much in our imagination, still not necessarily seeing things for what they truly are, okay? So this may feel like you're on a seesaw almost, okay? It's about uncovering secrets. It's about being very substantive in your thoughts and communications. You can be extremely persuasive. The powers of persuasion are definitely going to be heightened during this transit, which brings me back to my point from before. Do not trust everything that you hear or even see, because a lot of people are going to be thriving under this transit to get over on you or take advantage of you, okay? So this particular transit holds a lot of weight in that it can really heighten your power of persuasion. It can also just make you super powerful mentally, okay? So if you find that you're on the giving end of that, meaning that you have the power to persuade people, you have the power to change people's minds, please do so. I want to say respectfully, but please don't take advantage of that power, because trust and believe it'll come back to bite you in the ass. And if you're on the receiving end of that, try your best not to get got. Just try to not really buy into everything that everyone is saying. Okay. Again, I feel like the theme of this week is drink your water and mind your damn business. All right. So that's Saturday. Let's move into Sunday. All right, so on Sunday, we've got Mercury moving into Aries, like I mentioned before, and we have the moon moving into Pisces, okay? As if we didn't have enough Pisces energy already. At least Mercury sort of moved out, but as soon as Mercury moves out, the moon moves in, all right? So again, look at where Pisces is in your chart, because this is where a lot of this energy is going to be concentrated in your life, all right? So Mercury in Aries, it is being headstrong, it is being opinionated, it is really wanting to take action, especially on new ideas, okay? It's mental competitiveness. It's being quick. It's being witty. It's being impulsive. It's also about making rush decisions. Remember, I said this is not necessarily the week where you want to make really important decisions. And Mercury moving into Aries is probably going to have you feeling very impulsive, especially. Here's a perfect example. Remember I just said before, a lot of people, you can't necessarily trust what people are saying, right? Because of all the other astrology going on this week. Someone tells you something, it sounds like a great financial opportunity, right? And Mercury in Aries is like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is exactly what I need. This is going to be great. And then wanting to take action on it right away. So you open up your wallet and give this person $5,000 for a course that probably doesn't teach you anything. Or it's just a waste of money and is a waste of money, right? That's kind of an example of how this particular energy can play itself out. All right. So you want to think before you speak. You want to think before you act. And again, not necessarily the best time to make any important decisions. Okay. One of the things that Mercury in Aries really symbolizes is that rather than having people tell you how things are, you prefer to experience them yourselves. So let's say you are in the kitchen and your mom says, don't touch the stove, it's hot. Mercury in Aries is like, oh, I don't know that. Why don't I want to touch the stove. Like now that you said that, I really want to touch the stove. And then you touch the stove, you realize it's hot and you burn your hand, right? It's this stubbornness in experiencing things ourselves rather than listening to the wisdom or the guidance of other people. Now, this can be a good thing because, again, with the rest of the astrology that's going on, their advice may not necessarily be the best thing for you. Okay. So there's something about Mercury and Aries that can be very helpful in that limited regard. However, it can make you very blind to certain things, especially things that may hurt you or that may cause you harm. Okay. So, again, do not rush to any judgment. Don't rush to make decisions. Think before you speak and think before you act, most importantly. Okay. Then we've got the moon in Pisces. Again, as if we didn't have enough Pisces energy already, this is just going to make things super emotional. As if there wasn't enough delusion to go around with all of this Pisces energy, the moon is going to exacerbate that. So if you find that you end the week on an extremely emotional note, or things just don't necessarily feel right, or you're having issues really coming to terms with the things that you're feeling versus the things that you are, experiencing or hearing or thinking about, rest. Moon in Pisces is great for rest. It's great for dreaming. Again, tap into your creativity if things get a bit overwhelming, and try your best to avoid addictive behavior. I feel like that is just a blanket statement that I need to put all over the astrology for this week, because there's going to be the tendency to want to escape. And if you already have addictions in your life, or if you've gotten over addictions in your life, you may find that you relapse, or you want to relapse, or it becomes a challenge whether you're going to relapse or not. Okay, so seek help if necessary, rest, and escape in healthy ways. All right. So that is the astrology for the week. So now let's quickly pull some cards for each sign for this upcoming week. Okay. So this does not, I'm going to do it by sign, but it really doesn't matter whether it's your sun, moon, rising, north node, Venus, Mars, whatever. Just whatever resonates, take it. And if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't have to. And if you're listening for someone else, like you want to know what's going on with your boo, that's cool too. All right. So of course we start off with Aries. Let's see what we got for Aries. Okay, we've got the 6 of Wands. All right, Aries. So there is victory this week. I get the sense that because you guys are about to start your season, Mercury is moving into your sign, and there's a lot of activity with Mars. I feel like you guys are really going to be on the defensive. I see you guys winning some arguments. I see you guys definitely standing up for yourself, defending yourself successfully. This is going to be the week for you to be on the defense and not the offense, okay? And by being on the defense, I see you guys being victorious in that and rising above. I don't see you guys being petty or being very like physical or any low vibrational kind of stuff. I see like, that was it Michelle Obama that said that, like, when they go low, we go high. I see you doing a lot of that and being victorious with that. All right. So good for you. All right. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus. Oh, all right. We've got the Emperor. Some of you are really stepping into your bossness this week. Like some of you are really taking charge of your life, taking charge of your business. Like some of you are really creating what it is that you want. And I see you ruling with like an iron fist. Like I see you guys setting boundaries. I see you guys being very much the boss. And this might be a change of pace for you, because Taurus energy can very much be like a worker, like an employee. And I feel like you've had enough of that. Like some of you are learning how to delegate. Some of you are learning that you have to take your seat on the throne. You have to be the leader. You don't have to be so helpful. You can delegate, you can lead, and that's okay. And so I see you guys doing a lot of that this week. So congratulations to you as well. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we've got for Gemini. All right. Temperance. Gemini, I'm hearing take it easy. Some of you are like in overdrive right now, especially since you've got Mars in your sign. Some of you are doing the absolute most, and Spirit wants you to remember that moderation is key. You don't have to do everything all at once. You don't have to do everything now. Moderation is key. Some of you are like a car that's about to overheat, and you need to just slow down. Take it easy. Remember that rest is just as important as doing. Some of you are not sleeping. Some of you are again in overdrive. You really need to put the car in park and just rest. All right. So this may be, remember I said before, this is a week where you want to drink your water and mind your business. Gemini, I feel like that may be exactly what you need to do this week. All right. So next up, we've got Cancer. All right. Let's see what we got for Cancer. All right, Cancer. We've got the Son of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot. Cancer, you guys are fired up about something. Like you've made your mind up and you are going at it full force. It's something that you're super passionate about, okay? And you are ready to attack something. Like there's this goal, and I'm seeing that this goal, it's like a lofty goal, or it's got a lot of steps to it. What I'm hearing is like going back to school. You know, if you're going back for your master's, you don't get it in one day. Like it's a process, right? And you are up for the task. You're up for the challenge. You're ready to put in the work. Okay. You're super fired up about this, but spirit is like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So you need to conserve your energy, because if you're this it's not about you being gung ho about it, but if you're putting in all of this energy at the beginning, like you need to temper that energy. You need to make it last. This isn't about being a firecracker. It's about being a campfire. But Spirit is happy that you're really ready to attack this, and Spirit is ready to assist you with whatever this is. Just make sure that you don't allow yourself to burn out too early. Okay. So that was Cancer. So now we are up to Leo. Let's see what we've got for Leo. We've got the Hierophant. Okay. I'm hearing like a come to Jesus moment. Like literally, like this may have to do with spirituality. It may have to do with religion, but there's something about this week that's going to have you like praying or meditating. I don't know why I'm hearing like last resort. Like there's something that you really want, or something that you really want to accomplish, and you've done everything but tap into spirit. And I feel like this week you finally realize that that's been the missing piece, that you don't need to do everything yourself. That spirit is on the sidelines just waiting for you. I'm seeing like WWE, right? And it's tag team, but you've been doing all the wrestling, and spirit's like, yo, I want to get in. Like tag me in. Tap me in. I don't know. Tag me in, right? And you'd be like, no, I got this. And spirit's like, seriously, like it's my turn. Like tag me in. And finally, you're like, oh, yeah, you tag spirit, and then spirit handles everything. You don't need to handle it yourself so much. All right. So leave room for spirit, pray, meditate, and hand it off to them, because you've already done all that you need to do for this situation. All right. So that was Leo. Let's get into Virgo. Let's see what we have for Virgo for this week. We've got 8 of Wands. All right. So there's some fast moving energy. You are like, you see, like, it's almost like she's throwing the javelin. Like you are trying to go the distance with something. And just like, who was it? Cancer? Like it's almost like you have a bullseye. You have a focus, and you are putting all of your strength, all of your might, all of your energy into it. And you're going to hit that target. Just be mindful that the target may be a little farther than you realize, meaning that that javelin has to travel farther than you think. So you are going to hit that target. You're going to hit that bullseye. It just may take a little longer than you think. Okay. But all the while you're going to see, and it doesn't matter. Like the javelin may be winding, it may not look like a completely straight trajectory, but you will hit the bullseye. You will hit the target. It just may take a little longer than you think. All right. So don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. You've got this situation down pat. All right. All right. Let's get into Libra. Let's see what we have for Libra. All right, Libra, we've got the Goddess of Pentacles. So this is the Queen of Pentacles. So some of you are really focused on your security and your money this week, okay? Some of you may be in your emotions about it, especially with Venus in Taurus, depending on where this is going down in your chart. Some of you may really be feeling the need to impulse shop, retail therapy. Some of you are tying your emotions to physical and tangible things. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, if you do it too much, it may be, okay? Also, when it comes to your relationship, stop treating your partners like objects to have. Stop objectifying your relationships. Relationships are not all about aesthetics. Um, I'm hearing that a lot of the objectification of relationships for you is because you care a little too much about what other people think. You want your relationships to present a certain way, or even if you're not in a relationship, if you are looking to be in a relationship, you have these standards that can be slightly superficial. And Spirit is like, please don't do that. Stop objectifying your relationships and stop living for others. Stop living for others. Live for yourself. And if you want to purchase anything nice for yourself this week, fine. Just don't overdo it. All right. All right. So next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we have for Scorpio. Okay. We've got the Goddess of Cups. Scorpio, you are in a receiving mood this week. I feel like you're very much waiting on something. You're waiting for your cup to be filled. I don't see you taking any effort, especially if this has to do with a relationship. I see like you're waiting for your partner to either make a move or cater to you. You're not willing to get up and do anything right now. And Spirit is like, that's a good thing. Like, be ready to receive. Allow yourself to receive. Some of you are waiting for an apology, or you're waiting for some kind of affirmation, some verbal affirmation from somebody. You may be waiting for like an approval, an acceptance letter, or something like that. And Spirit is saying that you're going to get it. Okay. So if you're waiting on something like that, you're definitely going to get it this week. All right. That was Scorpio. Now we've got Sag. Let's see what we have for Sagittarius for this week. We've got the 10 of Wands, all right? And so some of you are really feeling the pressure. Some of you are extremely in your feelings this week. And this Pisces energy may really affect you because you and Pisces share the same ruler. And so you guys sort of have complementary energy to each other. And Pisces is actually square to you. So this energy of everything I said with the astrology this week, you guys may find yourselves feeling it a lot more than maybe other signs, okay? Don't let this get to your head. If you are feeling down, depressed, negative self-talk, all of those things I talked about before, it's really important for you to clear your head. I want you to look at this card. You see how she's got this basket on her head with all these wands? You need to empty that basket. You need to clear your head, okay? So definitely escape, but obviously in healthy ways. And do anything that will take your mind off whatever you are thinking and feeling, all right? For some of you, I'm hearing you may want to hang out with friends. You may want to just try to have some fun. Be spontaneous so that you're not in your head so much. But either way, you guys really need to clear your head this week. Okay. Now we are up to Capricorn. So this is going to be Capricorn for this week. Okay. You guys got the Goddess of Pentacles as well. You guys are penny pinching this week. I'm hearing some of you are cheap as hell. Like you guys are not trying to spend money on anything. Like some of you are like looking for free lunch. You guys are really, I'm hearing some of you are really trying to stick to a budget. And Spirit is like, okay, we get it. Like you want to stick to a budget. However, if you're very miserly, if you're holding on to things with the intention of not wanting to let them go, you may find that they may get pried out of your hands. It's one thing to want to save money. It's another thing to kind of be cheap. Spirit is like, don't be cheap. Be mindful of your spending, which you guys probably already are. You can curtail some of your spending, maybe increase some of your savings, but don't do it from a place of lack or a place of fear. When you do it from a place of those two emotions, of those two frequencies, that's when you end up spending more. You have an unexpected expense, an unexpected bill that comes up. So just save, curtail your spending, but do it in a way where it's coming from a place of, oh, I'm saving up for this, or I'm being disciplined, I'm being diligent, I'm being responsible. Not, oh my God, I don't want to spend money. I have to hold on to every single penny, right? You get what I'm saying, right? So yeah, do that. All right. Next up, we've got Aquarius. So let's see what we've got for Aquarius for this week. Okay. You guys have Temperance also. Work is being done behind the scenes for you guys when it comes to something that is necessary in your life. I get the sense that you guys don't even know what this is, and Spirit is not even going to tell me because this is a general reading. But something's being worked on behind the scenes, and it's going to benefit you in the months to come. All right. So if you've got a situation that's not necessarily the best right now, if you've got a situation that's been troubling you, there's not much that needs to be done on your part. Understand that Spirit is alchemizing things behind the scenes. And in the next couple of months, this situation will start to unfold in a way that makes sense to you and that ultimately works out in your favor. All right. So just know that your Spirit team is hard at work on the issue, and just basically keep doing what you're doing. But don't lose faith in the situation. Things will work out one way or another, but things are definitely going on behind the scenes. All right. And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. Let's see what we've got for Pisces. Ooh, okay, Pisces. 4 of Wands. So some of you got a relationship that's either working really well, or you've got a relationship that's coming up that's going to be really happy. This is like moving in together. This is harmony. This is planning for the future. It's a cause for celebration, which is so funny because there's so much energy in your sign this week. It goes to show that if this is something that you've truly desired, if this is something that you really want and you've been putting in the work, Saturn in Pisces is making this happen like right now. Like seriously right now. So yeah, Pisces, you guys have a wonderful relationship. If you're in an existing relationship, I feel like it's just going to be more harmonious. There's going to be more reasons to celebrate. I also see like there could be children in the mix. Look at how he's sort of touching her stomach right there. And if you're not in a relationship, I feel like all of this is making its way to you one way or another. All right. So congratulations, Pisces. Y'all have an amazing relationship in your midst. All right. All right, my love. So that is going to conclude this week's edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one piece of information that you can use going forward into the coming week. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing week, and I will see you next week. All right, my loves. Take care, and I'll see you next time.